Every so often I get a strong surge, and the only way I can take care of it is to masturbate. And when I do, I feel awful. It's just like I've committed a crime or something. And it worries me, and I say, well, I won't do it anymore. And when I do, it goes away for a while, and I come back and do it again. And when I do control myself for a while, I end up with a wet dream.
A young man should learn to rule his body like his temper. He should keep it always under complete control.
Lust is not evil by itself. It is simply misplaced focus. It is energy with no destination. It is power with no blueprint.
Semen is the basis of your physical existence, whether you're a man or a woman. You have come into existence because that is 50% of the ingredient.
See, what does the semen retention mean is largely taking that energy to your brain, taking it upwards. Instead of having it being released, you're taking it upwards to your head, and which opens up a completely different dimension of creative thought process, right brain activation, so on and so forth.
I have another suggestion. The power to prevent such habits or to break them rests in the mind, not in the body. Don't let the physical part of you take charge. You stay in control. Condition your body to do the will of your mind. To do this, you must keep always worthy and clean thoughts. Divert your thoughts from things that lead you to mischief.
If you are controlled by lust, you are not yet a man. You are not yet initiated into your power. You are a servant to your lower nature. You have not harnessed the fire, you have let it consume you.
The energy must be transmuted from desire for physical contact into some other form of desire and action before it will lift one to the status of genius.
If you have energy within you that burns, that distracts, that pulls you toward desire but leads to no creation, then listen to me now. This fire was not given to you to waste in indulgence. It was given to build empires, write great works, lead nations, and conquer yourself. The greatest men in history were not free from lust. They were masters over it. They took the very power that ruins the common man and transmuted it into vision, enterprise, and immortality. You will not escape this force, but you can command it. And once you do, your energy will no longer betray you. It will build your legacy. This is not for the weak. It is not for the drifter. It is for the man who is ready to take what once ruled him and bend it to his purpose.
Resist those temptations. Do not tamper with your body. If you have already, cease to do it now. Put it away and overcome it. The signal of worthy manhood is self-control. This creative power is ordained for the begetting of life. No one is predestined to a life of perversion. Even those who have been drawn into wicked practices and are bound by almost unyielding habits can escape. If one of you seems trapped into that, escape.
So the first thing I'm going to do is avoid those things that are most likely to trip me up, whether it be media or proximity to another person that may offer temptation. So you want to say, first of all, I don't trust myself. And so I'm not going to put myself in situations that make me more vulnerable. So that's the first thing, flee youthful lust.
You've got to start being aware. Awareness is one of the most critical aspects of breaking your brain of lust, right? Because you've got to identify when it's happening. You've got to know when you're feeling those emotions. And when it comes on, you've got to redirect and rechannel this emotion to something else. When you start to feel the urge or that lust coming over you guys, it's about acknowledging it, realize that it's happening, and then break it. How do you break it? You redirect and refocus that energy to something else, something unrelated. Whether or not it's a hobby, whether or not it's a walk, whether or not it's singing, whether or not it's going to get a cup of coffee, doing some push-ups. It's about identification and breaking the chain.
A common question that I get from youngsters is, Prabhu, how do I get rid of lustful thoughts? I don't have control over my mind. What should I do? See, what happens is you get more thoughts of the things that you see from your eyes and you listen from your ears. So naturally, if you see and hear something lustful thoughts will expand. If you see and hear something nice and positive thoughts will expand. So pay attention to what you see and what you hear, because from there your thoughts are influenced.
He said that a lot of people in his studies of 25,000 people, they don't achieve their greatest successes until after the age of 40. Why is that? Because they've been dissipating that energy before 40.
Semen retention is said to have a lot of positive effects on the body and soul. More confidence, more energy, more self-control, increased cognition, faster growing hair, deeper voice, more joy, improved libido, better sleep, stronger immunity, more attention from women, increased physical performance.
If you are struggling with lust, just know that I've been there before. And I know how sometimes it could feel like you can never get out of that cycle. And even sometimes you might break free of that cycle for like a few weeks or a few months, and then you'll fall right back into that same sin. Just know this. You need to change your perspective when it comes to lust. Specifically, I'm talking about when we go on the internet and we watch certain videos that we shouldn't be watching, and then we do things to ourselves that we shouldn't be doing. This is specifically what I'm talking about when I say lust. Here's the mindset change that I need y'all to make. And this really changed my entire view on lust, and it's helped me overcome it. You have to understand that lust has a purpose. The purpose of lust is to get you off of your God-given purpose, of the God-given destiny that God has given to you in your life. The purpose of lust is to make you comfortable, is to make you satisfied, is to make you content with where you are in your life. All right? And when lust comes, it is a direct attack on you spiritually, and it is a direct attack on your Father in heaven, God. It is a direct attack against Him. And every time we give into lust, we are giving into the wicked ways of Satan. Every time we give into lust, we are giving into the wicked ways of Satan. So next time you are tempted with lust, think of it as a literal battle, a literal fight for your purpose.
There is no force within the human body more potent than sexual energy. It is the invisible current that moves empires, topples kings, drives men to conquest, and fuels the highest expressions of art, invention, and genius. It is the root of all creation. Every child, every idea, every movement of consequence was sparked by this primal power. But the same force that builds nations has also destroyed men by the millions. The same current that once empowered great builders has wrecked those who lack discipline. This is the secret that few will speak plainly. What you do with this energy will determine whether you rise as a master or fall as a slave.
The 5 advice to overcome lust and temptation through Stoicism. 1. Understand the nature of your desires. To conquer lust and temptation, start by understanding the nature of your desires. Recognize that they are just fleeting thoughts and emotions, not necessities. 2. Focus on what you can control. You cannot control your desires directly, but you can control your actions. Focus on your response to these urges rather than the urges themselves. 3. Practice self-discipline. Develop self-discipline by setting boundaries for yourself. Avoid situations where you know you will be tempted and create habits that align with your values. 4. Reflect on the consequences. Think about the long-term consequences of giving into temptation. How will it affect your well-being and your relationships? Reflecting on this can help you make better choices.
It's not you, it is just compulsive behavior, isn't it? When you were a child, it didn't matter what reproductive organs a man or somebody carries, didn't matter to you. The moment the hormones started playing within you, now you can't think of the world beyond that. Your whole intelligence has been completely hijacked by your hormones. And you will see beyond a certain age, when this hormone, the play of hormones goes down, once again it doesn't matter, and you look back and say, you can't believe you were the one who were doing all that. You were that one who went so madly about those things, you can't believe you did it. So right now, you're hijacked by the hormones.
I've always said this, whenever there's going to be a choice between a piece of ass and peace of mind, I will always choose the latter, and I like peace of mind. I like it to be simple. I have, like Picasso, taken all my sexual energy and put it into my work, and that's why the work is sexy.
Energy can be transmuted, and a lot of people dissipate their energy through overindulgence in sexual expression of the emotion of sex. He says most people never learn that the urge of sex has other possibilities which far transcend in importance that of mere physical expression. We're not saying don't have physical expression, don't hear that because I'm a minister and you're in a church. We're not saying that. We're saying that energy can be transmuted into your creative expression, into your work, into your art, into your acting, into your singing, into your business, into making money, into God realization.
And let me be very clear. You will not command fortune. You will not lead men. You will not influence history if you cannot first govern your own flesh. That is not a judgment. It is a law. Sexual energy, when transmuted into higher action, becomes the driver of all real achievement. Look to history, and you will see its pattern. The emotion of sex, so misunderstood, so misused, has been the secret behind the endurance of visionaries, the stamina of warriors, and the magnetism of leaders. When properly directed, it becomes persistence, charisma, focused thought, and creative genius.
In Stoicism, desire is seen as a natural part of human experience. However, the focus is not on suppressing desire, but on understanding it and aligning it with virtue. Stoicism teaches us to accept that desires may arise, but encourages us to maintain inner tranquility by not letting them control our actions. The Stoics emphasize the discipline of assent, urging us to pause and examine our thoughts, acknowledge desires without being enslaved by them, for true freedom lies in our response to them. Stoicism encourages channeling our desires into virtuous actions, rather than being consumed by fleeting passions. Focus on what aligns with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance.
Lust is the silent killer of ambition. It erodes a man not with fire, but with softness. It does not strike him down in one blow, but dulls him day by day until his edge is lost, his vision blurred, his spirit weakened. The man who does not conquer lust will eventually be conquered by it.
I'm not looking for what I used to be looking for. This is just because I feel like I have so much potential when I put my mind to something, with anything that I want to achieve, that can't be sleeping with new women all the time. Because once I put my mind to that, it takes away the same potential energy that I need to buy myself mansions and supercars. And so that's good advice to anybody.
Because I believe that the greatest motivation for avoiding temptation and fighting temptation is this: everything that the world, everything that the devil can offer me is a counterfeit that eventually will become like gravel in my gut. A young man, let's say, he desires a relationship with a young woman. He desires intimacy. That's normal, that's biblical. But he's tempted to go about it the wrong way. What he needs to realize is, hold it. If I go about it this way, it will not turn out to be a good and perfect gift. Also, I need to look back at all the kindnesses of God, and also my faith in what God is going to provide. I can take the counterfeit now, or I can wait for the better, which God offers. And that's a tremendous motivation that is oftentimes overlooked.
There's an additional issue with pornography, which is not often discussed, which is that, remember, if your brain learns to be aroused by watching other people have sex, it is not necessarily going to carry over to the ability to get aroused when you're one-on-one with somebody else, right? Especially young kids who are consuming a lot of pornography, the brain is learning sexual arousal to other people having sex.
So you're going to program yourself into being a voyeur?
Or just create challenges in sexual interactions with a real partner.
thinking I will just remove negative thoughts and I will have positive thoughts, all the best, it's not going to work 100%, it's not going to work because nobody can remove it, they can avoid it for some time because what you want to remove will become your quality, always you will be on it. So when negative thoughts come, what shall I do? Don't do anything, just sit back and just concern yourself with something which is the life process. It could be a sensation in the body, it could be breath, it could be heartbeat, it could be anything, something which indicates life to you. Just pay attention to that for some time. Slowly you will see there is a distinction between what is you and what you have gathered, which includes both your physiological and psychological possibility or mess, whatever you made out of it.
Vigorous physical exercise benefits young men in many ways. You are most vulnerable when you are idle and discouraged. That is the time to keep on guard. I know a way to keep your thoughts worthy. It has helped me, and I explained it on one occasion in a general conference talk. It has to do with selecting a favorite hymn and making that as the channel for your thoughts to follow at time of temptation. Another thing that will help you to prevent and to overcome such a habit, at times of special temptation, skip a meal or two. We call that fasting, you know. It has a powerful effect upon you physically. It diverts some of that physical energy to more ordinary needs. It tempers desire and reduces the temptation. Fasting will help you greatly.
When I was celibate and I was even practicing semen retention for an extended period of time, 3+ months, and then I was like, okay, I'm good to go, like I can go back to that. When I finally experienced born again after not having it for so long, it was so strong and powerful that it scared me. It was like, whoa, it's a drug that I'd gotten so accustomed to, that I had grown a tolerance to, that I was popping it like it was nothing. And then I through that experience, through the elimination and then the reintroduction, I realized that's something I want to be careful with. I want to watch out for. I realized that it had been an unhealthy addiction.
You must understand this. Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be elevated. It can be diverted. It can be lifted. The same fire that burns down a village can be harnessed to power a city. The same river that floods the land can irrigate crops when governed by a channel. So it is with the emotion of sex. The man who seeks to repress it will fail. The man who seeks to indulge it will become a slave. But the man who chooses to redirect it, he becomes a force of nature.
Well, we have skin, we have epithelial cells, we have hair, we have many other aspects of body, heart, liver, kidney, so many things. All these cells are of a certain potency in their own way. But semen is of an extraordinary level of potency, it can create a whole new life. Well, today you can take an epithelial cell and do a lot of things in a laboratory and maybe we can clone you, all right? So the potential is here also, but it is not in the same dynamics as it is in a cell, which you're referring to as semen. So in the yogic culture, this is called as virya. Virya also refers to what you call as vajra, which means stability, or diamond, which is the hardest thing. So in the human body, virya is considered to be like vajra. That means it is one of the most potent things if you know how to use it. Well, how to use it means you can use it to produce a child. That's one thing. Well, if this question is coming because you are using it to spill it on the JNU bed sheets, if that's how you're using it, well, that's your compulsion, you're doing whatever you're doing. This is not something to be judged morally, that's not the point, it's a question of what is the level of compulsion that one has. But anything in this body, can it be transformed into a different level of function? Absolutely. Not just semen, just everything in this body can be transformed.
This requires a new kind of discipline, a new kind of clarity, a new kind of command over your environment. You will not bow to what is common, you will rise to what is uncommon. Let that be your vow. Let it be your inner law, and let your mornings become your sacred ground. When the world is asleep in distraction, you will rise in dominion. You will not begin your day with gossip, indulgent thought, or mental drift. You will not check what the world says before checking what your soul says. You will not start the day reacting. You will begin by commanding. The morning hour must be cleansed of all pollution, no lazy speech, no lustful thoughts, no meaningless consumption. You are not a beggar of stimulation. You are a builder of destiny. You do not wake to be entertained. You wake to be entrusted. Your first act must be instruction. Instruct your mind. Instruct your body. Instruct your day.
I wish to explain something that will help you understand your young manhood and help you develop self-control. When this power begins to form, it might be likened to having a little factory in your body, one designed to produce that substance that can generate life. This little factory moves quietly into operation as a normal and expected pattern of growth and begins to produce that life-giving substance. It will do so perhaps as long as you live. It works very slowly. That is the way it should be. For the most part, unless you tamper with it, you will hardly be aware that it is working at all. As you move closer to manhood, this little factory will sometimes produce an oversupply of this substance. The Lord has provided a way for that to be released. It will happen without any help, nor without any resistance from you. Perhaps one night you will have a dream, and in the course of it, the release valve that controls that little factory will open and release all that is excess. The factory and the automatic release valve works on its own schedule. The Lord intended it to be that way. It is to regulate itself. This will not happen very often. You may go a long period of time, and there will be no need for this to occur. When it does, you should not feel guilty. It is the nature of young manhood and is part of becoming a man. There is, however, something you should not do. Sometimes a young man does not understand. Perhaps he is encouraged by unwise or unworthy companions to tamper with that factory. He might fondle himself and open that release valve. This you should not do. For if you do, that little factory will speed up, and you will be tempted to tamper with it again and again. You can quickly be subjected to a habit, one that is not worthy, one that will leave you feeling depressed and guilty. Resist that temptation. Do not be guilty of tampering or playing with this sacred power of creation. If you are struggling with this temptation, and perhaps have not been quite able to resist it, the Lord still loves you. It is not anything so wicked, nor is it a transgression so great that the Lord would reject you because of it. But it can quickly lead to that kind of transgression. It is not pleasing to the Lord, nor is it pleasing to you. It does not make you feel worthy or clean. Now, there are ways to conquer such a habit. First of all, you must leave that little factory alone long enough for it to slow down. Resisting is not easy. It will take weeks, even months. But you can get the little factory slowed back to where it should be.
Porn addiction at the time, specifically related to video pornography, which is what it all is now, right? It was having the same impact on the brain in young men as crack cocaine. I mean, it's extremely powerful. Has a lot of other effects in that it sets up a very unrealistic idea and perspective of what sex and intimacy is.
It has never been harder to win than right now. Why? Because every single day you are frying your brain. You are killing your attention span, and you are killing your focus. You're killing your testosterone. And because of all of that, you are killing your success. The average person has a worse attention span than a goldfish, and that's who you're competing against. So on the good news, that means that just with the tiniest bit of discipline
and work ethic, you are already ahead of 90% of people. And before we even begin, you need to understand that your ability to control your urges is directly correlated to your success or lack thereof. If you cannot control yourself, if you cannot be disciplined, you will never be successful. It is simply impossible. And that is why it's so important for you to master your urges.
That's an energetic state. Like if suddenly you get, being horny is an energetic state.
Yeah.
It's energy. Like if you're really horny and you sit and like watch the feeling itself, it's electrical. Like you can feel it moving around in your body. It can almost make you twitchy a little bit. Like it's like a very potent energetic state. So theoretically, instead of trying to get, the question would be rather, is there a way to release that energy that isn't through the tip of my in the form of DNA? Is there a way for me to release that energy in other ways, or is the only way, the only valve on that to come? That's a question. What do you think?
I think there's, when this natural buildup happens, it makes people more easily aroused. It makes people more concentrating on sex. And I think that that can put you out of balance too. You can be put out of balance both by too much masturbation, and you can definitely be put out of balance by too much desire for sex.
Yeah.
Because you're just horny.
Sure.
And you can just take care of it yourself and you'd be relieved, and then you can think clear. You know, I think the body needs a balance, right? That's why I'm a big proponent of exercise. I'm a big proponent of meditation and mindfulness.
Yeah. Lust is not something to be repressed. It is to be redirected. You do not deny that you feel. You command that feeling to serve. You do not pretend it is not there. You train it to move with you, not against you. You are not called to kill your passion. You are called to consecrate it, to aim it, to guard it, to fuel your ascent with it. Purpose is greater than impulse. The man who lives by impulse is always a slave, never a leader. But the man who holds to his purpose in the heat of temptation is already a king. He may not yet wear the crown, but he has earned it, because the crown belongs not to the loudest voice, or the most charm, or the quickest wit. It belongs to the man who endures, to the man who does not fold, to the man who stands firm when it would be easier to fall. And that is why discipline births kingship, not education, not status, not fortune, but discipline. Quiet, relentless, private, daily discipline. Discipline in thought, discipline in word, discipline in habit, discipline in solitude, discipline when no one sees, because it is in the dark where greatness is born.